Now, after you run the test, the next tool that we are going to see is analysis. Next tool that we're going to see is analysis. Now, this is the tool that reads, say I told you that the controller records all the information into a database. All the information into a database. Now, if I go here, so yesterday what we did, we went in and started saving the controller, right? Now, when we ran the test, we saved the result. So let me go to the location where the result has been saved. Load runner, result. Now, this is the test that we ran, right? Now, is this the one? No, not this one. This, right? 30 user load test. Now, this is how the result gets saved. Now, the controller, what it does is all the information, you see this MS Access database, if you double click on this, you will see that all the information about the test is available in this MS Access database. I'll say open. Now it's all in table format. Let's go over the analysis. So when we open the analysis file, right, the file extension is .lra. The file extension is .lra. That means load runner result analysis. That is load runner. LR stands for load runner or load runner result, whatever you want to call it. It's basically load runner analysis. That is what they call that. So load runner analysis. Okay. Now that's the file extension that we are going to see here. If you go into our VMware, you will see that this is the extension of the file here. Okay. Now what happens is once you save this file, so initially when controller is creating the file, when you are creating the file using the controller, it will save as load runner raw result, L.lrr. Now the raw result contains everything that is required. Okay. From this, when you save it, it will create into a load runner analysis file. Now we don't need to create this. Load runner raw result will have all the information that we require. So when we open this file, so when we open analysis, it looks like this. Now here what we have to do, we have to go here and say rest all will be disabled. Rest all will be disabled. You can connect to performance center, you can connect to quality center and download the result if the result is saved there. Now I'm going to open a local result. So I'll say file, you can create a new result. If I say new, it's asking me to open any file. Similarly, if you say file open, it's going to give you the same window. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, if I say file new, it's going to show me this result file. See, LRR file, load runner result file. But if I say open, it's showing the analysis session file, that is LRA file. So if I go to my C drive where I have saved it, it will not be able to identify that. You see here, it's not able to identify that result file, because if you want to open the file, if you want to open the existing file, it will open only the LRA file, load runner analysis file. So you have to first go to file new. That's when it will detect the LRR file. So click open, select the file and click open. Now it will create the result for you. Now it will create the result directory. Now what is this plane? Let's see each and every plane in detail. So I'm going to clean this up. This portion is called the Session Explorer. This portion is called the summary. Okay. And this portion is the properties. All the three are very important. Okay. So first we will see what is the Session Explorer. The Session Explorer will show you all the graphs that are available. It's not only these graphs, you have much more graphs. You have if you right click on this open window here, you can add a new graph. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about all these things. Now we see here the first graph that comes up first is the summary. So when I select the summary report, it gives you everything in one go. That is, what is your scenario name, what is the, where is it located, how long did we run the test, how many users did we run the test. This shows you the maximum number of users. See here, this shows you this gives you the maximum number of users. So we ran the test with 30 users. That's why it's showing 30. The next is throughput. Throughput. What is throughput? Throughput is the amount of bytes sent and received. Now, what do you mean by this? Amount of bytes sent and received. That means that when I am sending a request. Say I have my tool here, I have my server here. I am sending a request and getting a response back. Right? We are using the HTTP protocol. Correct. Now, using this HTTP protocol, when I send a request, basically I am sending a text file. Remember, we did this, guys, right? I'm sending a text file from here for the server to process. Server will send a text file back and my browser will render this, right? That data, when I'm sending, the amount of or the size of this text file that is sent and received, the sum of the size of the file that has been sent and received, that's what the amount of bytes sent and received is called throughput. So this is the amount of bytes that has been sent and received for the past 7 minutes. Average bytes per second. Per second, how much bytes were been transferred? This is the average amount of bytes per second they transferred. The next is hits. Hits is the amount of request you send to the server. That is, if I launch a page, that means I send a request to the server. That is one hit. So amount of hits that went from your load generator to the server. Totally, we have sent 582 hits. This hits, right, almost matches. So, sorry, this hits is the amount of request that the server sent to the, that is the amount of request that the load runner sent to the server. Average hits per second is how many hits on an average in 1 second, how many hits were sent. That is 1.2 pages we accessed on an average per second. That's the average hits. SLA configuration, we will work on that. Right? Now, guys, till now any questions on throughput and hits? Please raise your hand. If you don't type the question, please raise your hand. Who's that? Yep. What is the question?
What would be the two servers, Rajesh, here when we are talking about the bytes, amount of the bytes?
Server is your app server, right?
Yes, app server. But
and your load generator. So when you run your script, first it launches the application. So that request goes to the server, right? And the server gives the response back. So since we are using HTTP protocol, it is sent as a text file. So that text file will have some KB of memory in it, right? KB of file in it, right? When it goes, that amount of data that has been transferred between your load generator and your server is the throughput.
Okay. So one is the app server, another one is the load generator.
Yes.
Okay.
They're getting me?
Thank you. Yes.
Any other questions? Fine. So now we saw this. This, just ignore this. We don't need this. The next what we are going to see is, this is the most important portion in our testing. This is for this only we run the entire test, right? The transaction that we created. You see here the transaction that we created. Okay, that's okay. Now, this is the transaction that we created. Remember guys, the names that we give, you see here, it consolidates. I have totally 19 times I launched my application. Totally 19 times I launched my application, or in 19 times maximum I got. This is the minimum response time. This is the maximum response time. This is the average response time. That is the total number 19 times it launched. In that, the sum of all the requests individual times divided by 19 is the average. Now you have the 90 percentile. This is what we usually take it for our response time. 90 percentile. What do you mean by 90 percentile? Say if I am running with 100 users, example. When the 90th user was in the system, what was the response time for this 90th user? That is this. How do you find out that? How did this get this response time? We can see the graph. I'll show you the graph which will show this response time. Now this is the response time that we take in our application. So when you are reporting, you will report only these 3 columns, the 4 columns: transaction name, 90 percentile, pass and fail. So you will not talk about stop, you will not talk about standard deviation, maximum, minimum, average. Nothing you are going to show. You are going to show only your transaction name, what is the 90 percentile, how many I passed and how many failed. This is what you are going to show. And then you will say overall how many requests I was able to pass. This is what you will prepare the report. Guys, you are able to understand this? You are able to understand this? Fine. Now we will see what are the graphs that are available for us to work with. Runtime users. Runtime users is how my users got loaded into the system. You see here, this is how my users got loaded into the system. 2 users every 15 seconds, users started getting into the system. Hits is how my hits were happening. Right? These are all, you don't need to bother about these graphs. Just leave these graphs all alone. Transaction summary, this graph is like, the sum of all the number of transactions that went through. Say for example, let's take one transaction, flight TC01 launch. We had 19 pass. So if you go to transaction summary, here TC01 launch, it will show 19. This is just a representation, don't worry about. We don't use this graph only. Average response time. This is also an important graph because this shows on an average how my test ran. So if you see here, take individual transactions, you will see that these are not required. If you don't want the transaction to be shown, uncheck the checkbox. So those are all unwanted transactions. See, end transactions, we don't need those things. Now what else? Yes. So these are the transactions that we require. You see here, all these transactions are well within the, if you are saying your SLA is 3 seconds, all are well within the SLA. If there is any spike, the transaction will be shown here that it spiked and it went to above the SLA. So that you can see the graph how my application was performing. If you want to see a specific time, say example, I wanted to see, if I wanted to see between 3 minutes to 5 minutes what happened. So I will say, I will drag, I'll click on this, I'll click on this, and then I will drag it like this. You see here I'm holding the mouse and dragging. You see the red color box that's coming? Now when I leave it, it's zooming that portion. It is zooming that portion. Okay, so that is how we zoom and find out how things go. Okay, so now that's how we zoom it. So we can zoom in more further if you want to see only a specific between 336 and 344. You see here it will show you specific. For that time only one you see this transaction, click on the transaction, it will highlight. If I want to see log out run, if I want to see secure purchase, here secure purchase is there. I didn't see this color and the line color is matching. I didn't like it. I want to change it. So right click on this and say configure measurements. And here change color, give any color you want, say I want green color. Okay, now that graph turns into green color. You see here secure purchase is in green color. So like that you can change your color and see how the response time for each and every application is. Now you want more graphs. Right click on this in the empty area inside your session explorer. Right click and go to add graph, add graph. When you do this, you get this. Now we added Windows resources, right? Windows resources by default does not come. So I will enable here. I want what's my hits is come, throughput is come. Where is that? Web page diagnostics. Okay, web page diagnostics. Did it automatically get enabled? Open it. Yeah, web page diagnostics is there. This is showing how the application behaved during the test. This we are not going to use it. Web page diagnostics is not what you are going to use it. Yep.
Rajesh, response time for every transaction is different. So why that line was straight in the graph?
Which one? The response time for every transaction was different. Let's go here. Yeah. What is this now? Sorry, I didn't get you. What do you mean? What is this question?
Response time for every transaction is different.
Yes.
So why that line was straight in the graph?
That is because you see what is the response time? 0.004 seconds. How can you differentiate between 0.004 and 0.006? You have to zoom it further in order to get that millisecond difference. It's not able to, you can see usually your response time doesn't come like this. It will come in 3 seconds, 2 seconds. That time you will see the difference. Okay. Since it's 0.0004, it's not able to differentiate that exactly. But if you see here, let's enable these two. I'm going to say right click and say, let's say show only selected. I just want only these two, so I'll say show only selected. See, automatically others get disabled. Now I got to reset this graph. Give me a second. So let me delete this graph. I'm going to delete this graph and I'm going to regenerate this graph. Here, add graph, transactions, average response time. Okay. Close. I want to show only these two. This also, you see, there is a very slight difference in both. Show only selected. You see here, it's able to show you this difference. You see, this is what you are asking, right?
Yes.
Because it's a higher number. 0.001, it's not able to clearly indicate. If I enable this graph, it will see here. This went up to 10 seconds, flight reservation transaction. So it is able to differentiate. You see here? Yes. It's able to differentiate these. This is how it will come up when you are actually working with your application. But you see here, there is a spike. You see, there is a spike here at this point. Right, there is one time, keep at the point, at the circle, you will show at that point the response time was 10.26 seconds, and at what time it came? It came at 5 minutes and 52 seconds into your test.
Okay.
So that's how it will show you all the transactions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let's see if I'm going to go into my Windows resources, web resources. No, transactions, percentile. I'm going to select the percentile, open graph. Now here you see this is the number of users, 5, 10, 15 is the number of now percentage, sorry, is the percentage. So 5%, 10%, 20%, at 90%, what was the 90%, what was the response time? Let's take one response time. Let's see, for say this is a bigger one, right? So I'll say this one, in a transaction at the 90th percentile, it was 10.026. So I'll go here. I will enable only, what did we see? User init, right? Okay. So I'll go here. I'll enable only user init. So only selected. At the 90 percentile, the response time was, let's keep it here, 10.026. Can you see that here? Can you see that here?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's how it takes the 90 percentile. So we always, industry standard, we always take the 90 percentile as the response time, not the average. The reason is that average, what happens is it sums up all the transactions and divides it by the total number of transactions. So you will lose the spikes. So that's why we take the 90 percentile.
Okay, so whatever is the maximum response time, we always take the 90%.
Yes, whatever is, even don't bother about the maximum response time, that would have been a one occurrence. So that is why we take the 90 percentile response time, which gives you the accurate picture of how the application behaved when 90% of the users were in the system.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions, Kesh? Any other questions? Fine. So now we saw this. The next is the properties, right? Now properties, what is properties? You can play around with the properties. For example, I'm going to generate a report and I don't want these transactions to come in. We have like unwanted transactions there. I don't want to show all these unwanted transactions. How do you remove it from the report? So what I can do is I can go to, you see here, filter, apply for summary only, or there is a global filter. You see here, this filter is the global filter. Or if you see this one with filter symbol with a yellow color applies only for this particular page. No, we want it global. So that means all the graphs, these transactions will be removed. So I go here to my global filter. Now in the global filter, you have multiple things you can do here. So let's start with the transaction name. So I'll click on this side, values, and here what I'm going to do, what I want, I'll check only what I want. I don't want secure purchase transaction. Select secure purchase, that's again an action. I want only these transactions. Select only what you want. Relieve off the rest of the items that you don't want. And then click OK. Now when you do this, what will happen is, okay. Let it load. Okay. Now if you see the summary report, you don't have those transactions coming up. You don't have. And you see here the total number of transactions went down. The total number, but the hits won't change because the total number of hits are there. You cannot change the number of hits. But from 911, it came to 679 because those transactions were removed from the total. Even if you see the average response time, you don't have that information here. You don't have that information coming up here. So now, that's how we work with a global filter. Say example, you ran the script for 7 minutes. You wanted to show only the steady state. That is, you don't want to show the ramp up, you don't want to show the ramp down, you want to show only the steady state. So I'll go to runtime view users, see where the steady state starts. Steady state almost starts after here, this point. 30 users are in the system. That means after 1 minute and keep your pointer there, 1 minute and 52 seconds to here, 6 minutes and 24 seconds. So what I'll do, I'll go to my global filter. I want only these transactions. transaction scenario elapsed time. I will go here. I will say scenario elapsed time. I will say 1 minute and 52 seconds. So I'll say 1 here and 52, and the other one was 6 minutes and 24, right? So I'll say 6 minutes and 24 seconds. Okay. Now I'll say okay. Now what will happen? Everything will get rearranged only for that particular response time. That's right. So all the logins and logouts we have removed. You see here, now you see the runtime viewers is changed. See, it's showing only between 1 minute 52 and 6 minutes to 24 seconds. Here, now you have only these transactions, 422. In 1 minute and 52, you had 2 launches. That's why 3 logins. It happened at that time. That's why this is coming. Otherwise, this also won't come. So you see here, I can control and do whatever I require. If I don't know, I wanted to reset it back, just say clear all. It will reset back. If I want a specific transaction, say example, I want a specific transaction. It's showing you set dimensions here. It will show you each and every transaction, what is the minimum and maximum. It will just display that. You don't, you cannot do anything here. It just displays that here. Okay. Now hierarchical path, again, nothing comes up here. If you wanted to specify, oh, give me a second, it got stuck. If you wanted to see which is the flow of the hierarchical path, you don't want this, you don't want this, no, I want this. All the transactions inside these will come up. It's almost same like you are setting up the transactions. Okay. Script name, if you want to select only one script, I don't want the flight registration, I want only the flight reservation data. Select that and click OK. Only that script transactions will come up. You see, only those transactions came, the other transactions were removed from the list. Only those transactions came. So like that you can control using your global filter. Okay. For the properties, again the same thing, like what you did the global filter, you can do it here. The same thing, properties, right? You can go and do it individual. Say example, by mistake you added think time into the transaction. Now you have ran the test and later when you saw high response time, you went and checked the script and found out that, oh my God, I have added the think time. How will I remove that think time out? So that think time got added into your transaction response time. How will you remove it? What do you do? Go to global filter, go to the end. You will see think time. It's saying include think time. Go and change it to uncheck that. So that means any think time that was added inside your transaction, it will remove that time out and give you the actual time. You see here, it will take off all the think time inside your action. You see this? There was think time added in our action. You see this? This particular transaction was showing 10 seconds. Remember? Because overall we had 2 transactions inside that overall transaction, and those 2 transactions had 5 seconds think time. That's why this was showing overall 10 seconds. Remember guys, let me redo that again. Let me show you. You see here, this transaction was showing 10 seconds because the overall this is the overall action for that particular action to execute, how long it took. Inside that action, we had multiple transactions. That's what we are seeing here. See, flight, where is that? Flight, select flight transaction, select flight finder. This is the one. Select flight, continue. This is the one. Now, this transaction took only 0.5 seconds, 0.005 seconds or 0.013 seconds. But how did it show here 10 seconds? The reason is that we had a think time of 10 seconds included in the overall action, right? Guys, you are able to understand that? You are able to understand this? We had a think time. You are able to understand?
Yes.
Yeah. So we had an overall think time got added into the transaction, right? So that one we put it in order to slow the application down. But inside our start and end transaction, we don't have a think time. So when we saw the overall action time, that 10 seconds got added in. So always what we have to do, go to the global filter. This one, no matter if we are using the global filter or not, this should always be unchecked. Remember guys, this should always be unchecked. Say okay. Now you see this 10 seconds will change. You see this? This 10 seconds changed to 0.5 seconds. You see here, this response time, overall action response time and the transaction response time is matching now. That is the thing you have to do for the response time. Similarly, you can change the percentile here. You can change what you want. You want a 90 percentile or whatever percentile here. You see here, instead of 90 percentile that is showing here, I want 70 percentile. So I'll go here, I'll change it to 70. Okay. So now, instead of 90 percentile, you see here it is showing 70 percentile. So what is the response time when 70% of the users were in? That is the response time that shows here. So you can modify this, but you cannot change the data, but you can manipulate how you want your response time to be displayed. You can add multiple graphs, you can delete a graph, right click on the graph, select the graph, right click on the graph and say delete, it will delete it. So that's all what we are doing. Now when you are running the test, if you would have added the Windows resources, it would have come up here. When you say add graph, it would have come up here. In the Windows resources, it would have come up here. So we could have seen the CPU utilization, memory utilization of the application. That didn't come up because we did not add that. Okay. Next what we are going to see here is, so we saw how to add, then we can go and save this file, save as. Now when I am going to save it, it will save as an analysis session file. So when you are opening this, it will open this file. It will not open the raw file. Otherwise, every time you have to create a new session. Okay. Now it is always advisable to create a template. Okay. It is always advisable to create a template. Now or before going into that, if I want to see what is the runtime setting that I gave in this test, file, view runtime settings. This is the runtime setting window. We have two scripts, so it will show you what are the runtime settings that we kept for each and every script. You see here, it will show you what are the runtime settings. So you don't need to go and open the controller again and see what is the runtime settings that we gave here. Miscellaneous, in the second script that was enabled, that's the reason we are getting the overall transactions. From here you can open the script also. You see here, it will open the script. Or you want to open the scenario, it will open the load, that particular scenario also it will open. So you have more control on those things. That's what it is about. Now, okay. Similarly, you can upload it into your performance center. Whatever, we'll talk about the reporting later. So the next one, what you are going to see is cross results. That means if you have two test runs, you can click on this cross result. It will open this window. I can add another test. You see here, I'll go to the folder where I have saved it. Let it load. You cannot cross a load runner result file, that is LRR file. You cannot cross. So in order to cross, I have to save the file as LRA file. So I'll cancel this. I'll first save this file. Let me go and save this file first. I will give the same name. Something lightly different I'll give, so that it's saving it as an LRA file. Now I'm going to open the other result. New result, open. Now cross, what it will do is, you can cross tests that are of the same transaction. Don't cross two different applications. Don't do that. Cross the same application, which will merge these two transactions and show next to each other, and merge those graphs and show next to each other how the response time for different applications or different releases were showing up. So I'm going to save this result first. I'm going to save this as say example 2, something like this. So I have saved it. I'm going to say file close. I'm going to cross, you see here the cross button. I'll click on this, add. First one, add. Second one, you can add n number of results, don't worry. Create a new analysis session, yes, okay. Now what it will do, it will open the first graph, so it will open the second graph, merge those two graphs and show it to you in a one single analysis window. So let's open the session. Open. So when I'm opening the graph only, I can exclude it here. Okay. Open. Here. You see here, These are the two things. So now this is for the first script, this is for the second script. You see here. Now if I want to see in release 1 how my say example, where is the secure purchase? Secure purchase. The second thing didn't run. Yeah. Secure purchase, right? So I'll select these two and see how was my show only selected. How was my secure purchase in first script and secure purchase in second script run? See, it didn't. It just started by the time we stopped the test, but it will show both the graphs highlighted. If it's there, say I think launch will be there, right? So let's do the launch. Show only selected. Okay, that also is not there. Okay, if I say this, see, since we ran the test only for 2 minutes, by the time it started, I stopped it, but it will show you both the graphs. You see here, it will show you both the graphs. It will display both the graphs for your analysis. Okay. Similarly, you can view and take all these graphs as your report. Guys, you are able to understand? Any questions? Any questions? Fine. Now we were able to. Yeah.
Rajesh, can you please explain one more time this? What is the condition for the cross check?
No condition. First, the condition for cross check is you have to first save the LRR file into an LRA file.
Okay.
So, first of all, what we did, let me close this. I don't need it. So first I opened this file, right? So I'll say new. This is my LRR file. Okay, load runner result file. If you open this, it will show. If you see on top, it will be LRR. You see here, can you see? Oh, went off.
Yes. Yes.
You saw that, right? LRR file. Now, if I take this file and save it, if I take this file that got generated and I save it, just click on save. It will automatically create as load runner session result. Unless you save it as an LRA file, you cannot cross the result. You're getting me?
Yes, this I got, but cross check is for the two transactions, right?
No, cross check, why do we do is, say example, let me clean this up. Say for example, we are running release 1. We are running release 1. We ran the test. After 3 months, the release 2 came, we ran the test. Now, I am seeing that in release 1, one of the transaction was like this, and the release 2, the transaction is like this.
For the same transaction.
For the same transaction. Okay. So now, instead of me showing that for my release 1, a separate screenshot and release 2 separate screenshot like this, I can merge these two graphs, merge these two results. What will happen is it will show like this. So release 1 it will show like this and release 2 it will show like this in the same window. So it is easy for you to explain that, right? See, in release 1 the result was like this, release 2 the result was like this. So it will show in 2 different colors.
Yes.
So example, release 1 it's showing in green like this. It will show like, say it went like this, and release 2 it's showing in blue. Right. Now you can tell them, see, release 1 it was pretty consistent, release 2 you see it spiked up to this level in one graph. So that is the reason we do this. Merge the graph.
Yeah, the condition what I was asking, now I got, the condition was like it has to be the same transaction, right? Yes. Not two different transactions.
No, it cannot merge. If you are saying release 1, you are having TC01 secure purchase. Secure purchase. And release 2, what you are doing, you are giving this TC01 SCR purchase. These two are not matching, right? So it cannot merge. So it will show this as a separate line and this as a separate line. So both transactions should be the same in order for you to merge these two graphs.
So the naming has to be the same or the transaction has to be the same?
The naming has to be the same. Naming has to be the same. It only goes with the name. It does not know what you are doing. Right?
Okay. How about if I'm doing the release one, the TC01 is a secure purchase and TC02 is a something else. So can we do those two as a cross check?
See, in TC01, you are giving secure purchase. This is the transaction name.
Yes.
In TC02, you are keeping the same transaction name, but you are doing, say, submit, something else. It does not know what you are doing inside the application. It only goes with the name. So it will see these two names match. It will merge these two names. That's all.
Okay.
Understood. You are able to understand what I'm saying?
Yes. The transaction has to be the same. No, the naming has to be the same.
Naming has to be the same. Doesn't matter what you are doing in the application. It does not know. It only goes with the name. Right? Even if you can even put TC01 secure purchase and put the login code there. It does not know that it's doing the login. It only goes with the name.
Okay. So the precondition for this one is the naming has to be the same.
Yeah, but what happens usually is that release 1 to release 2, you might have more scripts added.
Yes.
But you will run the release 1 script also along with the release 2 script.
Yes.
So you won't re-script your release 1. You will use the same transaction names.
Okay.
You will not change your transaction name. Even if it is 10 releases ahead you are running, you will not change your name. The names, transaction names remain the same.
Okay.
So don't think in release 1 you gave secure purchase, release 2 you can give secure per. You cannot change the names like that. It has to be the same for release after release.
No. I didn't mean in that way.
No, I'm giving you an example. I didn't say you meant like that. I'm giving you an example.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Got you. And okay, go ahead and I'll be asking the other thing later.
Okay. Fine. So now that is what we merge that's why we merge our things. Now when we merge, right, say example we merge these two graphs. Now I wanted to only the response time of this one, and this one. Okay. Now since it's a higher number, I'm just displaying only that. Like this, it's come up. Now, how do I take the screenshot? Should I go and use a tool to take the screenshot? No, you don't need to use the tool to take the screenshot. You can just right click on this. Okay. No, it doesn't come here. Okay. So what we do, we go here to graph, no, view, no, sorry, edit, copy to clipboard. What do you want? I want the graph. If you want only the data, you can copy the data. You want the raw data, you can copy. If I want the notes, you can copy notes. If I want the graph. So when I say graph, it comes along with this data, only what you selected. So I'll go to edit, copy to clipboard, graph. Now, go open whatever document you want. Say example, your notepad or not notepad, your Word document. Open it. And then use a Control V. You see, only those transactions that you selected, there are multiple transactions, but only those transactions that you selected are displayed here, and the graph for that is displayed here. So that's how you take the screenshot. Don't use any other tool to take a screenshot. This is the best way to take a screenshot. Go to edit, copy to clipboard, and graph. If you say edit, copy to clipboard, and graph data, and paste it here, only the data on the lower table will come. You see, the graph data is come. We usually don't do this. Okay, we don't do this graph data. All what we want is this one. So we take the screenshot and put it in our application. If say example, these are certain view, you can merge two graphs. If I want to merge, say example, I'm taking only this graph, or let's take the graph that's spiking up here. This one. I'm taking only this graph. Okay. I'm taking this graph and I want to see at what point or how many users were there at this point. So what I'll do, I'll right click and I'll say merge graphs. What graph you want to merge? You can merge hits, throughput, or run. We usually merge the running users. So it will show at that point. So again, we just have to do it again. So say run this one, show only selected, and also we want the, which is the one which had the spike. Not this one, not this one. Yeah, this one. You see here, these two graphs. Now at this point when the spike were there, users were actually logging out. So I'm not much bothered about that. I only bothered from the point where my steady state starts and the steady state ends. So this spike you can ignore. Users were coming out, it's a one-time spike, just ignore it. So you have to see at what point. You see here at this point when there was a spike of 10 seconds, all the users were in the system. So you have to report this, saying that it was stable for a period and then we had a spike. That's what you will tell in your report. So you can merge multiple graphs. Whatever graph you want, you can merge those graphs here. You see, it creates a separate graph. It will not merge it onto your actual graph. It will create a copy of that graph with the merge details. Then rest all is just display. Add graph is the same thing that comes for when you right click. It's the same window that comes up. Report. Now you can generate what report you want. I can generate a HTML report. I can generate a Microsoft Office report. I can generate a Crystal report. Now Crystal, we don't have that software, so mostly we use these two reports. So if you generate an HTML report, it will create a HTML file of all these graphs. So I click on HTML report, go and save the report where you want. So I'm going to save this. Rajesh, Cloud Runner, result. I'm going to put this inside. Now it's creating a HTML file, a web-based file. You see, this is the HTML report. You see here, the same thing comes here. What graph you merged is also here. You see, it generated a graph for you. You see here, it generated a graph for you. Since we selected only this transaction, rest all was not highlighted, it gave you only that transaction. You see, it generated a HTML report. Now you can zip this and send it to anyone you want. That's how we generate the HTML report. Now you want a Word report. Go to report, Word document. Click on the Word. Now you can give your first name, title, organization, what organization you wanted. If you wanted to include logo in that, you can include your logo. Whatever logo you want, you can include the logo. What all details you want here. Primary contact, what all details you want here. If you don't want the hits per second, you can remove it. Additional items, whatever ID you want to add some graph, you can add a graph from here. Say example, I want connections graph. I will say add graph. That got added. You see here, that got added. All manipulations, what you want, you can do. Report location, go and put it in the location where you want the report to be saved. So I'll go here, Rajesh, load runner, result, and I will say blah 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 30 with something, some name I give. Okay, now it will generate a Word report. The same like what you saw HTML, it will generate a Word report. Done. Now the report will open up. You see here, load runner report, which date we created the report. Automatically it creates all this information for us. Keep going down. You see here. Took a screenshot of that. Overall transactions, scenario configuration, everything it will give you in a report. See this? It will give you a complete report. But usually, we don't create all these things. No, we don't create all these things. We usually create an Excel report. That's how we we send the report. We create an Excel report. Let me show you how an Excel report looks like. I have that uploaded in this report is already uploaded in the documents part. Let's go back to this place. Documents. Now this is how you create an Excel report. This is how you create a report. So you will put these information, you get it from here. These information are coming from here. This is the information. This information, we put it in the test summary page. That's the information that we put in the test summary page, total past transactions, all those things. Where did I get the total past transaction? I got it here, the total past transaction. Those things we put it here. See, this is test 1, this is release 1, this is release 2. So I'm comparing the summary information. I'm giving an overall observation. What did I observe? What did I observe about that particular test? And here is your transactions. So I'll see 90 percentile, pass, fail. Release 2, 90 percentile, pass, fail. How did I calculate the difference? I'll tell you the formula for the difference. Let me go back to this. Now the formula for the difference is left minus right divided by left into 100. This is the formula. So what I will do, I won't put the into 100. I will make the Excel do that. So what I will do here, I'll go to this. Now what I will do here, let me calculate this. So what I will do, say example, my left side is the baseline test that I ran. Right side will be always the new release. So left side you will put the old release, right side you will put the new release. Now we are comparing whether from the old release to the current release, did the performance improve or degrade? So what we will do, we will say left, that is equal to sum of this response time minus this response time. So I'm taking only the 90 percentile. Close divided by this response time. Close. Enter. Now you got. Actually, you will be wait. Let me do it here, because since that has been changed, right? I'll do here. Do again equal to sum double bracket left minus right divided by left. Enter. You will get it like this. 0.0 minus 0.39 second percentage. Now this is not a percentage. This is the value. So I'll select this whole column. Right click on the top of the column. Format cell. Let it load. I'll go to percentage, remove the 2 decimals, make it 0, and I'll say OK. Now it will automatically give me, it will automatically multiply 100 into it. So it's giving me minus 39%. So in my previous release, I got this response time 12 seconds. In my current release, I got this response time 17 seconds. So it is 39% degraded compared to my previous release. Minus shows degradation. Here you see 13%, no minus. That means my previous release it was 5 seconds. Current release it is 4 seconds. So 13% it improved the response time. So this is how we show that. Anything above 100%, see 0.2 seconds to 2 seconds. So it is more than 100% degradation. That is 600% degradation. So anything more than 100%, we will show it in red color. Seconds is they just wanted to see in seconds also. So I just minused this left minus right. I put it here. They wanted to see if 39% looks big. So how many seconds it was the difference. That's what they wanted to see. So I put this. This you don't need. This is actually not required. You can take it out. This is what we show here. And then we add more graphs, putting the CPU utilization, taking the screenshot from the analysis, memory utilization taking from the analysis. We will put that here in additional sheets we add and put CPU, memory. If you want to show the average response time graph, you can add that graph. All those things you can show it here. Guys, you are able to understand this? Any questions? Any questions? Yep.
So how are we going to create this Excel, Rajesh? How are we going to get that data into this?
This one is very simple. I just copy pasted from here.
Oh, just copy.
This information, right? So what I will do is there's a slight tricky part. You have unwanted data coming up. Okay. So I copy the whole thing and don't put it directly into the Excel. I'll copy it. First I'll put it in a notepad so that these unwanted image files, right, all get removed. See? Now I have the right data here. From here I will copy and put it into my Excel sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
And initially when the class was started, you opened the Microsoft Access
Yes.
page. That was, what was that for, Rajesh?
That when you save the result file, right? From the controller, you created a path and saved the result file, right?
Yeah.
Automatically it will get created. You need not worry about this. All the information is available in this only for you.
Okay. So we don't need Microsoft Access.
No. No need. I'm just showing you that.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
No, Rajesh. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, initially you said before this one, we can generate a Word report and we can generate a HTML report.
Correct.
But we in real time we do prefer Excel.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't send
We
the
don't
Word
even
report
use
because what happens is
Okay.
why I tell you. First I'll tell you why and then I'll continue with the question. The reason is that if you send the Word report, you saw that Word report, right? Too many information. People can't understand. They see what the client wants to see, the numbers. That's all. If you send them too many information, they'll get confused. They'll start asking you more questions. So that is the reason we make it short and sweet by creating an Excel report where you see here, you can see all the information here. You can see the numbers here.
So does
That's
it
all.
have graph too? Because
You can add, if you want, you can add the graph. I showed you how to take the screenshot of the graph, right?
yes, but we added in the Word document.
Yes.
Word.
You wanted to add them in your Excel report, you can add them into your Excel report.
Okay. So yesterday when I asked that by seeing the controller, some of the transactions were failed and we were able to see some errors, right?
Yes.
So then I asked do we need to report these things to someone? Then you said first we will try to fix by ourselves, is it with the script or not? If it's not with the script, then we need to report to the project manager that it has a defect here.
Correct.
So that means when we have a defect, only we report to the project manager, or all the pass and fail test, what we have seen in the analysis, we report them.
See, if everything looks good,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything is like this, no failures, everything looks good. They are not bothered about your result.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's for our understanding.
For our understanding. Now, the first question they will ask is, how did the test go? If you say, yes, it looks good, perfectly fine, they will not even look at your report. They are not bothered. They are only worried if there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Got it? If everything looks good, you just create a report and just send it to them and say in the mail, comparing the previous release to the current release, there is no degradation.
Mm-hmm.
Done. If there is only a problem, they will be interested to know what is the problem.
Yes, then how do we do that? You showed the Excel sheet, then we don't see that much degradation there, right?
No, we see the degradation, right, in the Excel sheet. The Excel sheet that I showed you. Here, let me expand this. Let me clean this up. Let me make it big. Now, in the Excel sheet, the things that you need to see are the ones in red.
Okay.
Not the ones in amber. So now, use the same template. This is a template. So, when you copy and paste these information, automatically it will color code here. So now, what will happen is, I right click here, go to my filters, color filter. Now see all these red, no, what color is this now? Red, no? Yeah. So all these transactions are the ones that you need to notice. You see here, you have to, when you are presenting your report, you have to tell them that, you see here, this transaction that was 5 seconds, now it is 11 seconds. So there is a problem here, which was 0.8 seconds is 0.2 seconds. So the overall, it is almost all the transactions, so many transactions are showing high response time. Correct?
Yes. So can we go back to the original colors, what you kept initially?
Yes. Clear filter? Yeah.
Yes. So here the ones which are in red have more response time.
Yes.
Right?
Just because, more response time is the old one to new one comparison, it's showing a higher degradation.
Yes. So, but you added everything in the Excel sheet. You did not only added the ones which has got more degradation, right?
No, you are presenting, you have to present the whole test. You can't present few items. Everything is presented, but how do you differentiate it? I am not worried about the amber, I am not worried about the green, I am only worried about the red ones. So that's why when you are doing a presentation, you will filter it to red and say that, you see here, so much of degradation is happened across all this thing. See here, you see the amount of transactions that we have. Did you notice? I have 192 transactions. 191 transactions. We have 37 scripts. In 37 scripts, the total number of transactions are 192 transactions, out of which so many are degrading. So that is an overall application issue. Right?
Yes, but you don't have any failed tests here. Everything is passed.
No, everything is passed. There is no failure. If you see here, expand this, there is only one failure. I am not bothered about this. If my 50 and 50, right? These past transactions, failed transactions to my past transaction. 50, say if I have like 20 failed here.
Okay.
How much percentage is this?
More than 50, close to 50.
How can it be? Close to 50%, right? 40% it is. Correct. 10% is 5.
Yes.
40%, 40%, which is more than 5%, right?
Yes.
So that means there is a problem with the transaction. You need to see whether it is coming from your script or it is coming from the application. So if it is, first you have to validate whether it's coming from your script. If it's not coming from your script, then call up the developer and tell him to go and check the logs during the test time. How do you get your test time? That comes up in your analysis report. Here. When did you start your test and what time did the test end? You see here, 2054, 902. So give this time and the date and tell him to go and see the application log whether there is error messages.
Okay. It's by oral. We don't do the documentation for that and
Send
tell
the
them.
mail.
Okay. That's
No,
it.
nothing.
Okay.
In practical scenario, whatever you talk, fine. But whatever you talk, send it in mail also. Unless and until you document it, people can say that, you didn't tell me only.
Yes.
Understood? When it's documented and send it to him, he cannot say that, I didn't know.
Yes.
Got it?
Yeah. Even then, in 100 transactions, if more than 25% transactions are failed, we write a mail and a transaction name and the time.
No, we don't need,
we'll send the mail.
no. Hold on. Transaction name, he is not going to know what is the transaction name. How does the developer know? So you will tell only one thing. You will send a mail to the developer. Can you send me the application log for this time to this time? What he will do, he will take the application log for that whole day and send it to you. Now the application log will have the timestamp. So you will scroll down to your test time and go through the test time to see if there is any error messages are coming. The moment you see some error message, ping the developer and ask him, this is an error message. What is this error message? He will know, seeing the error message, what is that message. So it's a collaborative, in collaboration, you work with the developer. Okay.
Okay. But here in the Excel sheet, we don't need the analysis graph and everything in it, right? So they just need the numbers.
You have to put, see, when you are presenting your report, right, you cannot say that this transaction failed 20%, I don't know, I have to go and find out why.
Okay.
So when you prepare your report, do all the background work.
Okay. But in your sheet, what you are showing right now, it doesn't have.
No, there is no, it's only degradation, there is no failure. So if it is showing degradation, how will I know what is the problem? So you have to sit and work with the developer to see what is the problem there.
Okay.
Got it. You can run and tell that this functionalities were now slow. Find out now, the developer will sit and find out why that functionality is slower. Got it?
Okay.
You got to work with the developer. Now he'll say, I made some changes, can you test again? You will run the whole test again. Understood? So you will work with the developer for analysis. Say example, if you have a performance engineer, he will have third-party tools like HP Diagnostics where you can go and drill down and see why that particular transaction is failed. But at your level, no one will expect it. Understood? Create an Excel report. Okay, so we created an HTML report, right?
Yes.
Let's go to that. That's the best way you can do. Open the HTML report. Copy this. Control C. Now put it in your notepad. New. Notepad. Here you got it?
Yes.
Okay. Now what you can do is copy this and put it in your Excel. Slight manipulations you have to do. There's no other option. So what I'll do, I'll copy and paste it here. Now everything will come in one row, but you wanted it to be split, right?
Yes.
So what I'll do, I'll select this column. I'll go to sort. No, not sort. Wait, I'm used to the older version. So give me a second. Sorry, newer version. Tool format. Where is that? Data. Text to column. Here. You see here, text to column. Select that. Fixed. Next. No, not fixed. Sorry. Wait, hold on. Go back. Delimited. Next. Now you have to find a way to segregate. So there is a space, right, in between.
Correct.
Click on the space. You see here it is splitting out.
Okay.
Next. Finish. Now what happens is transaction name, that there was a space in between, right?
Yes.
So that's why it moved everything. So all what we will do is we'll remove these three out.
Okay.
And then Standard deviation. See, standard deviation also there is a space. Standard deviation there is a space. 90 percentile there is a space. So it is splitting that.
Okay.
So that's what manipulation I said. See, 90 percentile. I'll just take this out. Slight manipulation you got to do, but you will get these are only just slight manipulation. So I'll copy space and I'll put the percentile here. I'll remove of this column. Delete. Pass fail. That's it. This one I'll delete off standard deviation. And then I'll copy this, move it, Control X, Control V, Control X, Control V. Got it? Now you got all your transactions here. Now I'll remove off these things. Delete, stop also, delete. Got your transactions here?
Yes.
This is how we do.
Okay.
Okay? Well, see, now when you are seeing it will be little difficult, but what I usually do, I'll show you. Okay? How do? I won't do all like this. So when I copy and paste it from here, I will remove this space. I know I don't want SLA status, so I'll take off this and keep only one space. Transaction name, space, minimum. Average, standard deviation, I'll take off the space. Okay? 90 percentile, I'll take off the space. This I know, this is what I have to do. Now I'll copy this, put it in the Excel. Close this. No. Open a new Excel. Okay. Now I'll select this column. Data, text to column, delimited, not tab, it's the space. Next, finish. You see, I got it how I want it.
Yes.
See, this by experience, you 3-4 times when you do know, you will get that practice. But see, how long did it take for me to create this? Not even 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
So this comes by experience. So you have to create report. That's when it starts coming up faster.
Correct.
Got it?
Yes.